Assiah, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. You are tearing this up. Is it good? Okay. So, guys, thank you guys for. I'm going to encourage you guys and really ask that you guys share this live stream. Much of the interview will not be live because we're actually recording and we're going to actually do our actual production. So we have our team that's actually working behind the scenes. But just so you guys get an insight of what we're doing. So those who are new to following me, I am Tashani Hamilton from The Great You. This is Assiah Phinisee. Hi. Mm-hmm. Yes, cutie pie. And this is Mom, Rasheena Phinisee. And so this interview today is going to take us, I believe, on a roller coaster of emotions, right? I think we're going to go, especially those who are parents, whether you're a mom or a dad, but if you're a parent, it's definitely going to take you on a roller coaster of emotions. So we won't have Assiah here for long, but we will have her. What is this we eating?
Seaweed.
Seaweed. Why do you want to eat seaweed? Why is seaweed important, something that you eat? Because I understand that eating like being healthy is your thing, right?
It tastes good.
It tastes good. You going to let me taste it? If it's nasty, I'm telling you on live, they're going to see me spit it out. I promise you it's going to spit all across this table. Okay? You eating it like it's potato. I don't like how it smells. Where does seaweed come from?
It has a really interesting texture and consistency. It's almost like a thin chip.
This is seaweed. They got me eating y'all. What's it? Smoked seaweed?
Roasted.
Roasted seaweed. Okay? Because Assiah is all about eating healthy. Can we fry it?
Okay.
How is it? Can I sit my piece down? I'm going to eat mine later. It's not bad. It's like salted spinach.
Right.
Right? It's not bad.
Mm-hmm. And then they have it in like a wasabi type flavor.
It's going to have me on that toilet. It's going to have me in the bathroom, ain't it? Okay. We'll edit that part. But so let's get right into the interview, guys. So why do you think I'm here, Assiah?
To actually explain my story in an actual way that's not basically covered up.
But say it a little louder so everyone can hear you. We're here. Why do you think I'm here?
So you can tell my story in a way that's actually not covered up.
So it's actually not covered up. Have you ever been able to tell your story where it's not been covered up? Or is this your first time just actually? Because, you know, when you get a chance to, like, tell everything, it's like breathing, like, it's like excelling, like just, I'm just releasing it. Mm-hmm. Have you ever gotten a chance to do that?
Well, not really, but I've been able to talk a little bit about what my story is.
So what is your story, Assiah?
Well, when I was born, my mom was prescribed a medicine that passed through her milk, and then I turned out to be very allergic to it because it was prescribed for like a week older.
Children under 30 days old couldn't have the drug.
And I was 6 days old, and they still gave me that medicine, and then it just was a really bad result. Like, I was throwing up everywhere. It made me really sick. I was having all these crazy symptoms, and then my mom had to take me to the hospital, and they said it was like a common baby fever.
So when you hear that, so I'm gonna get into what mommy, because that's the experience that she really knows the best. But when you think about everything that you've endured from that day up to now, how do you feel?
Sometimes I wish that never would have happened.
Because
it's not like I can wake up any day and be normal for the rest of my life. Like, not have to take medications, not have to think about allergies. That started because of one chain reaction. And one chain reaction caused basically our whole life to tumble down, and now we have to rebuild it again from the start.
How old are you, Assiah?
I'm 10 years old.
You're 10. Mom, let's start from the beginning, if we can, right? So you had a baby, right? We all excited. We have a baby.
Yes.
And then it went from that happy place to what? Where did we go? From pushing the baby out to, I want you to take our viewers, I want you to take me, I want you to take us on this journey. Please. And please be extremely transparent.
You know, I was excited about being a mom for the first time. I was 23 years old. My entire pregnancy, I made sure I did everything right. I ate great. You know, I was
Clearly, we're eating seaweed crackers
or
whatever we got going on over here.
I was in very great shape, and you know, I gave birth to, for a woman of my size, a pretty healthy child. Assiah was 7 pounds exact, 19 inches long.
Ooh.
And you know, I'm a woman that stands, you know, nearly 5 feet in stature.
About 4'11". I'm give or take.
So, you know, in delivering a 7-pound baby without having to have surgical intervention, that was a moment of empowerment for me as a woman, you know. And then to have a healthy child, it was, you know, a blessing from God. And then, you know, this,
but the doctors always have to mess something up again.
Then this experience happens where, you know, I'm prescribed a drug for a presumed UTI, never confirmed, and the drug passes through my breast milk and causes major injuries to my child. At that point, my life is spiraling out of control, and I'm literally, in, to put it in one simple sentence, running from death. Running from death. Running from death.
So, you get prescribed this medication, right, for what's presumed to be a UTI, a urinary tract infection,
Correct.
right, which was, as you defined, never has been confirmed to date.
It was deleted from the medical chart when they found out my daughter had an allergic reaction to the drug. The culture was deleted from the medical chart.
So, for those of you who are just joining, this is
Assiah.
Say your last name too.
Assiah Phinisee.
Assiah Phinisee's and mom
Rasheena Phinisee.
You guys are hearing it. Well, you've heard this story before, but this is a different way you're going to hear the story, because there's no one that can tell me what I can and cannot ask or say, and what I can and cannot disclose and allow on my platform. So here we are interviewing mom and daughter, who, I mean, you are changing lives, right? And Rasheena, so when you say running from death, because that's harsh, right? And others may say, oh, it wasn't that. What when you say running from death, what does that look like for mom? But because mom, you're enduring much of this too, although you didn't go through the transplants, but
you give up your life to ensure a better quality of life for your child. You do whatever you possibly can to make sure that your child is okay. It's no different than you see these cinema movies, John Q, and you know, all of these parents going to great extremes to ensure that their child has the best possible outcome that there is, and that is what you're running from.
That's what you're running from.
You're running from corporations telling you no. You're running from doctors underhandedly and undermining, collecting clinical and medical research information. You're running from so many things, and you're walking into an arena where these are systems that are created and designed for you not to understand and navigate through. The average person does not understand medicine. You understand?
Right.
And in walking in those arenas, a lot of times we come in, and I myself in the very beginning was very blind, and I was very, very naive in believing that the medical industry had mine and my child's best interest at heart.
Because we all have that, right?
Yes,
we go to the doctors with our children when they're small, when they're infants, because we have to go for that 1 week check their weight and see how they're doing as far as taking formula or breast milk, and how they're digesting it, XYZ. You go to those doctors and you assume that the doctors are going to operate and perform ethically on our children.
Yes.
You didn't get that.
No.
What did you get?
What I got was institutions that were funded by major corporations to solicit and collect in a database medical information related to children who have drug-induced liver injuries or deformities present at birth. That's what I got.
That's what you got.
Yes.
So, you know, this is my platform, so I throw @ You know what I mean? Is it okay if we throw @
No, that's fine.
Okay, so when we talk about these corporations, can we throw an @ because these are corporations that my viewers, your friends and family, they support.
Yes.
And they go under the impression and under the illusion
yes.
that when I go here with my child, when I go here with my kin, when I go here with my family, they are in good hands. Absolutely. However, this is one of the facilities that we would think is one of the best of the best,
yes.
especially in the city of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Can we throw an @ at the corporation?
Yes, absolutely. Our first initial consult when my daughter sustained her injury was with the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
CHOP is how we refer to it.
They
CHOP.
also killed my friend.
They also killed your friend. See, we're going to let Assiah keep it all the way funky, too. So, Assiah says that they also... And what is this you're holding up, Assiah?
A picture of my friend Jessica's hand in my hand because they said if she wasn't going to make it, I wanted to have one last memory of her before she died.
You trying to make me cry? Is that what you trying to do? Because if that's what you trying to do, you almost got me there. So, is that's what you fenced to do? Okay, she trying to make me cry. But this is, she believes, and so when you think about it, first of all, guys,
Make
child.
sure y'all share, because if y'all share while
please
we're
share.
live,
If you share while we live, more people can tune in. Please hit share, because soon we're gonna cut this interview on here, and we're gonna continue to film behind the scenes, and then you'll have to catch that later. But CHOP. Everyone thinks that CHOP is the top-notch hospital.
U.S. News reports them as in the top 15 in the nation.
Top 15 in the nation,
yes.
Right? But when you think about the top 15 in the nation, how does this happen?
Well, this is a part of becoming the top 15 in the nation.
Explain.
It's a part of medical research. If you want to be groundbreaking, if you want to be innovative, there are lives that have to be sacrificed in order to get those positions. Stop
right there. There are lives that have to be sacrificed. Do we believe that Assiah's life was one of those lives that was sacrificed?
Assiah and Jessica's.
Yes, Assiah and your friend's name is Jessica? Mm-hmm. Assiah and Jessica's life was, we believe, sacrifice. And the only reason we're saying believe is because there's still an ongoing investigation. Yes?
Absolutely.
That's the only reason. Because if not, y'all know. You know what I'm talking about? Okay? But I ain't going to do it. So I'm going to be,
Historically, this is how we get stories about the Tuskegee men. This is how we get stories about Henrietta Lacks. These things are real life occurrences that when they are occurring, people don't realize what they are in the midst of.
Right.
They don't realize it. So there's information being withheld from you while they're collecting clinical data on you that they know ultimately is going to be to your detriment, but will be to their advantage. And this is what we endured.
Let's talk about clinical data, can we?
Yes.
So there were some research that was being done by one of the physicians who was caring for Assiah.
Yes.
Who now I believe leads the organization, or who leads the study now.
So there was a clinical database that they were collecting information for neonates who suffered from neonatal hepatitis or a disease called biliary atresia.
Say that name one more time for me, because I'm a little...
Biliary atresia. Mm-hmm. Now, biliary atresia in the medical industry is a disease for which they have no known cause. They're saying that most of the time when they catch babies, by the time that they catch babies with this disease process, because liver disease is silent, it's too late to pinpoint what was the originating cause that started or triggered this process.
And this is what they say. Because I'm going to put that, can I put these up? Okay.
Yes, this is what they say. But they do believe that it's either infectious or immunologically induced. In Assiah's case, hers was caught soon enough or early enough where the toxic agent started the disease process. And when they caught it in the beginning, it wasn't complete biliary atresia, but as it progressed without treatment, without treatment, because they denied
That's key.
Treatment.
Without treatment.
I
was waiting for us to get to that point, because I've done some research.
Yes.
So when we talk about without treatment, were they denying her treatment? Were they saying she doesn't need treatment? Or were they saying They don't know what's going on, so that's why treatment wasn't received.
Treatment was delayed because they claimed they did not know what was going on. However, the clinical studies that were done at the initial consult with her, they discharged us from the hospital that day without discharge instructions.
And she was how old?
She was, at that point, I believe, 15 days old. They discharged us without discharge instructions or a diagnosis. They also, in the process of doing that, took laboratory studies, blood studies that showed during that time that she was having a destructive process of the liver, along with a strong allergy response to something. Her allergy cells were through the roof, which was an indication that she needed steroid treatment, no different than you give an anaphylaxis EpiPen for someone who's having an allergic reaction. She should have been given a dose of steroids at that point, and it would have stopped everything in its tracks.
So, I'm going to, and I want to apologize in advance. I'm going to stop you because you're saying so many different things that is crucial and it's vital.
Yeah.
So if I interrupt you, it's just because I want to make sure that I'm clear and that our viewers are clear. So, to your understanding and belief, had they given her some form of a steroid treatment, whatever was necessary, we wouldn't be taking, and these are your medications, Assiah, we wouldn't be taking, okay, what is this?
Rapamune, Prograf, Prednisone, and Imuran.
You take that every day, or you take all these medications a day? So had they stopped this, had they given her the treatment that was needed, right? Because, they're medical professionals. So professionally, they should have said, okay, wait a minute. Even if we don't know what's going on, something needs to be done to minimize what could happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That wasn't given. That wasn't done. And now we're on this. It was
never disclosed to me, period. They took the studies, all that evidence was there, and they told me they were not sure what was going on. They believed it was biliary atresia, but they couldn't be sure. I needed to bring her back next week when his full team was there.
Now more time has lapsed.
Yes.
So now it's progression.
Yes.
So when you say his team, can we throw an @ at that his?
So,
because this is a doctor at CHOP.
Yes, the initial consult was with a gastroenterologist from Children's Hospital by the name of Randolph Matthews. Randolph Matthews deals with disease.
Randolph Matthews, adding, okay?
Randolph Matthews deals with hepatobiliary and gastrointestinal disease processes of pediatric patients.
And he's still practicing?
Yes, he is.
To date?
Yes.
That you know of?
Yes.
Okay. So let's move forward a little bit, right? So here we have a newborn baby, because 15 days, 25 days, that's still a newborn to me, right? I have a 10-year-old, I still call my newborn. Still my newborn, right? And people say I'm crazy. That's my baby. You're going through, so you haven't even gotten a chance to suck in what it felt like to be a new mom, to have that nurturing and to have that connection with your child. Because, and I could be wrong, and correct me, and I do apologize if I am wrong, but it seems like she's had more interactions with doctors at such a young age than she had with mom. Am I safe to say that? Right? So they robbed you. Not only did they, go through all this that they did as far as medications, and they robbed you of the knowledge that you should have been, privy to, but they robbed you of that mothering opportunity, that mothering feeling that every woman, when you have a baby, you're supposed to, you haven't experienced that. How does that make you feel? Because you've been on a run. I mean, it's for Assiah since, right, for 10 years, because Assiah just said she's 10. You've been on a run. I'm talking run. And every conversation that you've had, for the most part, since birth for Assiah, has been about liver, about transplants, about medical procedures. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's become my normal now. In the beginning, I was very resentful. I hated the life and experience that myself and my child had to have. I hated everything that came with it. it put a huge strain, not on just me and my child's relationship, but relationships with my friends and family that have fallen apart over the years because they couldn't understand exactly what we were going through. They couldn't understand my frustration. So in terms of being robbed in the way that we were robbed, to this day, I'm still angry. I'm still not over it. It's one of the reasons why I continue to fight, because I feel like, you know, if anything was to ever happen to me today or tomorrow, where does that leave my child? Knowing the fight that I have to go through to advocate for her care. She can't do that alone by herself. So there's a lot of frustration there. There's a lot of fear there. There's a lot of anxiety there. There are a lot of things that I have to counter and combat every day with this experience, because it doesn't go away. And that's just my experience. That's not even the experience that she's having, because she's the one that has to go through these procedures. She's the one who, her body has been mutilated.
And that's what we're going to talk about in just a moment. I want to talk to you, Assiah, about, because we're going to jump all over, because I have a lot I want to talk about. Right? And as mom talks and as you talk, I mean, I wrote questions, but we're just going to jump all over. Is that okay? Because mom can speak for you, but again, it's speaking for you. Right. I want you to speak from your heart and from your experience. Is that okay? So when you were going through these procedures, of course you don't remember, because in 2009 was your first transplant, right? Liver transplant. Waking up, though. You remember waking up from the transplant? What happened? How did you feel? Do you remember that experience?
I felt a little bit woozy, but like everyone was just standing around my hospital bed, and I was like, where am I? What just happened? And then my mom was like, you have a transplant now. And I thought I was going to be safe, but no. That's a lie. And then I had to go back for a second transplant because that other one had failed.
So when all the doctors were standing around, right? And mom's not in the room, right? It's just you and the doctors. Did you hear anything? Did you hear any doctors? You're just wondering what's going on. Did you ask the doctors verbally, like, what's going on? And then mom comes in, yes, and says, she relates to you what's going on. You know, you just had a transplant. At that time, you didn't know 2009 you were, how old was you? Like
1, 2.
You were a baby, so you didn't have a clue as to how to process, like, you know, what's going on. Right?
I don't think any child would.
Right. But no child should have to endure that. Right? You know, I personally have a faith in God. And God, some things God, you know, he you know, during birth things happen, right? But my issue, here's where I am bothered. I from what I've been told, from what I've gotten from mom, from the research that I've done, and I've been studying you guys, and I've gotten enough information. Is it okay if I say this? Because you said we could be at a transparent conversation. Yes, you sure? Are you certain?
100%.
I feel like this was done to you. Do you feel like this was done to you? And how do you feel when you think about, because you've had 2 liver transplants, liver transplants to date, right? And that's done. To God be the glory. But you've had 2. So the second one was done when?
Like
2012.
July.
2012. So she was about what?
4.
4. You were 4 years old. Now at that time, you're a little more aware as to what's going on. You don't know why, but you're kind of, you know, in the know, right? So 2 times a liver transplant, you've had to receive that because of what was done to you. And what do you believe was done to you?
I was basically targeted for like medical research, because I think they think I'm like a rare child, and they're like experimenting on me to see how much I can take and see eventually how.
Do you believe that too, Mom?
Assiah has a rare blood type of B positive.
This is important.
Yeah, she also carries something called a homozygous gene from both myself and her father. There are certain ways that when you procreate with another person, that genes are transferred to a child. And 2 partners, like how someone can carry a sickle cell trait, and if the other person carries a sickle cell trait, then your child
has sickle cell.
Right. So when there are two parents that carry two of the same traits, for instance, two people who carry the trait for red hair will have a child with red hair. Her father and I both carried a specific trait. I'm not even sure what that trait is. When I go to look it up, because it is of African American origin, when I go to look up this gene specific trait, I can find no medical research or information to how this homogeneous trait works when it's transferred into a child. So because of that specific gene typing, I believe that she was targeted specifically to see how that gene mechanism works. And there are a lot of genes in our African American and Native American communities, because we have a lot of Native American heritage and blood. Yes. Specifically on my side of the family more closely than on her dad's side. But there are certain gene pools that research is definitely interested in looking at for developing new vaccines. Different we're going to talk about vaccines in a moment. Yeah, different immune therapies, different types of antibiotic therapies, and the only way that you can test these specific drugs and the reactions that these drugs have with people who carry certain genes is to have a host. She, I believe, was a host for this specific gene.
Because the doctor who was you want to go now? You want me and mommy just to talk? Okay, you ready to go?
I want to get water.
Okay, come on. Because me and mommy's going to talk now. Okay, you have anything else you want to share? You want to talk about the biopsies?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about the biopsies, and then me and mommy, we're going to finish the conversation.